Time passed, and 10 days later, the streets were empty, but Jeff had been using solar power to maintain basic functions at home. Every time he sent a video to his sister, it couldn't go through because of the lack of signal near the base stations. He also faced a more serious problem. His supplies were almost gone. Risking it, he could only search his neighbors' homes, armed with his old fish gun, but everywhere he searched was nearly empty. Fortunately, he entered one home, and found an elderly woman. The elderly woman was also a victim. Her children had left, and she had been abandoned here due to her leg problems. But this old woman was not entirely useless. She was very knowledgeable about the area. She knew which houses had more supplies, so under her guidance, Jeff stopped blindly searching. When entering a house, he found a motorcycle. With the added advantage of transport, he could widen his search range. Soon, he discovered a large amount of supplies. Now, the two could use them without worry. Unfortunately, this life didn't last long. They soon ran out of supplies again. But luckily, the elderly woman had good news. She used a walkie-talkie to play the broadcast for Jeff. Apparently, survivors nearby had set up a safe point, and they were calling on everyone to gather. This gave Jeff hope once again. However, when Jeff and the elderly woman planned to leave the next day, she suddenly went silent. At first, Jeff thought she was worried he'd leave her behind, so he promised not to abandon her. But the elderly woman seemed reluctant to discuss it. When Jeff arrived at her home the next day, he planned to take her with him, but when he went upstairs, he found only a letter. The elderly woman didn't want to be a burden to him. She chose to end it all. Reluctantly, Jeff had to set off alone, but when he reached the safe point, he discovered that it had fallen the night before. The sound of the motorcycle attracted a large number of infected. Jeff was immediately surrounded. He had no choice but to gun the engine, desperately trying to push forward. However, in the chaos, the motorcycle slipped and flipped over. Jeff could only get up and prepare to flee again, but the motorcycle wouldn't start. The infected were closing in. Jeff had no choice but to abandon the bike and run into the forest. After crossing a dense forest, he arrived at a seaside pier. A large number of infected were still behind him, but luckily, Jeff closed the pier's large door in time, blocking the infected outside. As he was looking for a small boat to leave, he found that all the boats at the pier had already been taken. Just when Jeff felt despair, something caught his attention in the distance. At the far end of the pier, there was a large ship and a small boat. Without hesitation, Jeff jumped into the sea. A few minutes later, he boarded the large ship, but when he entered the control room, he realized the large ship wouldn't start. Just then, Jeff heard strange noises. Something was in the cupboard nearby. He cautiously approached, opened the cupboard and found an infected baby. Startled Jeff. Luckily, it wasn't a threat. Then Jeff started the small boat next to the big one. He knew where the safe island his sister mentioned was. He just had to reach it. But as hopeful as the plan seemed, reality was cruel. The small boat quickly lost power. The engine wouldn't restart. In the dark, vast sea. Just when Jeff was about to give up, he spotted a freighter coming toward him. He waved frantically, but the people coming over were cautious. They only sent a small boat to check first. Everyone had weapons. After questioning Jeff, they finally took him aboard the freighter, though they gave him a hot meal. More questioning followed. A man named Dick, the ship's translator, asked Jeff if he was local, and what kind of work he had done before. Jeff quickly said he was local, and had worked as a lawyer, but Dick seemed worried after hearing that, so Jeff quickly added that he had also worked as an engineer. That made Dick pass the message to the captain. During the conversation, Jeff realized something. The captain's questioning seemed to have an agenda. Luckily, Dick seemed sincere. He told Jeff to avoid causing trouble. The captain had already taken a liking to Jeff's engineering skills. Jeff wanted to learn more about the captain, but Dick warned him not to ask too many questions. Jeff reluctantly agreed to stay for now, feeling suspicious. That night, he heard something. He quickly got up and went to the window, and unexpectedly saw a few survivors outside. The next morning, Jeff went to the deck. He searched for the survivors from the previous night, but couldn't find them anywhere. Instead, he saw the crew scavenging something. Unable to hold back his confusion, he approached Dick, and asked where the survivors had gone. But Dick told him again not to ask too many questions, or he'd be in danger. That's when Jeff realized something was wrong with the freighter. He told Dick that he knew of a hospital with a helicopter, and hoped that Dick, as the captain's pilot, could go with him, and they could head to his sister's safe island together. At first, Dick hesitated, but didn't fully agree. That night, Jeff decided to act on his own. He planned to steal the keys and escape on a small boat. However, as he searched for the keys, he accidentally found the survivors from the night before. Jeff wanted to take them with him, but as soon as he untied the rope, one survivor tried to escape, and encountered a crew member on patrol, who immediately shot him dead. Seeing this, Jeff quickly raised his hands. Just then, Dick happened to pass by. Seeing Jeff in danger, Dick jumped in front of the crew member. The two immediately began to fight, but Dick, using the rope behind him, quickly strangled the crew member. Clearly, the two of them were going to leave together. Dick just hoped there was really a helicopter.